Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the 3-0 Take, where we talk all things Major League Baseball. Here's Kyle Corwin and Nate Reyes. It all starts right now.
Oh, welcome back to the 3-0 Take, presented by SeatGeek. This is episode 501. I'll be your host, Kyle Corwin. I'm here with my co-host, Nate Reyes. Nate.
Officially on the road to 1,000. First step. 500's behind us. I'm ready to move forward.
Part of me wishes that we had done 500 to round out the year.
Versus start the new year.
But it's also kind of cool being able to kick off the year with 500. I don't know. Either way, your point still stands. On to 1,000.
You know what I mean? I'm not here to talk about past milestones. You know what I mean?
Looking to the next one.
Yeah, that's right. That's why. Now we roll.
You got something on your mind?
I do.
Lay it on me.
I think social media should ban position rankings for the MLB.
I'm so glad you brought this up, dude.
I think it needs to just be removed.
I am so over the fact that we're in the year 2025 and you still have people.
That still does not settle correctly in my head.
Crazy. Yeah, somebody said earlier today, and I was like, oh, 2023. Nah. Wrong. No, but the fact that we're in the year 2025 and you still have people getting worked up, like losing their minds in the comment section about doesn't know ball. This isn't anything, and this isn't related to us because we stopped doing those rankings a long time ago. Yeah. But any of these baseball outlets or whatever that put out their take on different positional rankings or even all-time rankings, which is a whole nother conversation.
Never want to open up that can. Yeah.
How do you not know that this is it's clickbait and you're losing sleep? You're
falling into the trap. Yeah.
Come on.
Falling into the trap. I think I got to be honest. I haven't even looked at all the positions. I don't need to look at all the positions. I don't even know if all the positions have been released from the MLB account. But the second I saw Byron Buxton listed above Mike Trout in center field, I'm out. I'm done. I'm done. I'm not going to look at these. TikTok's not going to trap me into the whatever algorithm says if you look at it a certain amount of time, it's going to continue to flood your feed with it. I'm done. These are awful. Everybody hates them. And it doesn't even matter because you and I put a lot of thought. We put days of research into picking and choosing these rankings. And
for what?
We got ruined. We got ruined in the comment section. It's a thankless job. It's a winless job, and let's just let it die. It's got to be done. It's got to be over. I'm all out. Don't need them no more.
For the record, I still stand by our positional rankings from years back.
For sure.
We had our case, and to the credit of some people that were following along with those, we changed some minds. I think some rational, reasonable-minded people, but then you just get the people that just go insane over these positional rankings. So yeah, I agree with you. I think it's time to just time to let it go.
Let it go.
Let's talk some. Let's talk.
Whoa.
Let's talk some
current events. Elsa guy, are we?
That you want to talk about leaving stuff in 2024. The whole the Elsa reference every time somebody says let it go. We gotta be better. We gotta be. I saw a TikTok the other day where it was you don't want to be friends with this type of person. No, it was like you don't want to be friends with this type of person, and it's the person that you mention any portion of a song lyric, and they immediately break out into song of that song lyric. I gotta say, I can't stand those people, but
You might not get along with my wife then.
to each their own.
Yeah.
No, Paige is all right. She's good people.
The problem is that it's typically only like 1 or 2 songs, and that's all she'll do for the week until I hate the song.
And then you no longer want to hear it.
And yeah. And then she moves on. ADHD, man. It's a wild thing. It's a wild thing.
Speaking of moving on, can I just confess something?
Sure.
I think I've moved on from giving the A's just,
Credit?
just no, just making noise on what the A's are doing. Are they spending money right now to avoid a grievance? Are they spending money right now to essentially check a box? Yes. And yes. Do I care anymore? No, I do not. I like watching the A's be forced to spend money. I like seeing the A's going out and retaining guys, bringing guys in.
Mm-hmm.
Brent Rooker, 5-year, $60 million deal. Am I disappointed for Brent that he has to stick it out in Sacramento and potentially Vegas, depending upon how things shake out? Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't wish that. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody. Having to play your big league career in a less than adequate ballpark, not even a major league ballpark at that. But I was thinking about today. What's happening with the A's right now is a perfect example. It gives you a glimpse into the world of I'm blanking. It's what people have been calling for. Not a ceiling, not a
Salary
ceiling.
floor?
Yes, it gives you a glimpse into the world of what a salary floor would look like. And sure, I know it's more nuanced than that, but ultimately, this is what you're looking at. Like, you're looking at a team like the A's, who otherwise would not be making these moves, would not be spending this type of money.
Yeah.
They're going, well, we got to do something. So they go out and they do something. And they're not going out and dropping $500 million contracts on guys, but they're doing more than what they would have had this not been in place.
Sure. I think number one, if we're making confessions, I didn't know that Brent Rooker played for a few teams.
I didn't either. This was
I didn't
news to
realize
me.
he was 29.
I was like, the Twins. When did this happen?
Yeah. I had no idea. No, I'm looking at it now. I mean, 2020 is his first year on the Baseball Reference page, 7 games, 58 games in 2021, only 16 games in 2022, and then obviously 2023 and 2024 with the A's, and where he kind of came onto the scene. I didn't know that. If you asked me, I would have guessed he was 26, 27.
He's a late bloomer, without a doubt.
He is, and that's
Without a
totally
doubt.
fine. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. I didn't know. So I'm going to confess that first. Next confession is that, like, I get mixed emotions about this, because when you're a fan of other teams, you can't help but say, like, oh, my roster would be great if they went and got this guy. I mean, there's certain teams and names that you can kind of fall back on. A couple names around the league where you're like, well, that organization's never going to lock him down and keep him. Like, I wonder. And every deadline, there's like, oh, I wonder if we can get that guy and just completely bolster our lineup or our rotation. And he was one of those names to me where it was like, it seems like if he's going to play a bunch of games, he's going to hit 30 homers. That's just kind of how he is. And it was like, man, like, I would love to see if he was up for grabs at a deadline. I would love to see him go switch over to a competitive organization and pop off in the postseason. So like it's a mixed emotion thing for me. Now, don't get me wrong. Can the A's still move him under contract? Of course. Can he still get shipped out of there? Sure. This is a fairly friendly deal.
Extremely friendly.
Yeah, fairly tradable deal. So it's like that's still a thing, but like it was weird. I had like a weird like, dang, I wish I could have seen him go elsewhere while he's in this like shorter late bloomer window that late bloomers have. That's just the way it goes. Like, let's face it, Aaron Judge, late bloomer. This window isn't going to be forever. So, yeah.
Also, technically speaking, he is 30. Just turned 30 a couple months ago.
Even worse. That makes me feel even worse. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But good for Brent. Like, this is going to be your, like, this is going to be your,
this. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, this is going to be the bag that you get when it's all said and done. Like this, obviously, with the stage that he's at in his career. Like this is going to be it, but this is, comparatively to what he had been making, this is
right. That's what I'm saying. Imagine
life-changing
2022, money. You're 27 years old. You're not getting any time. You're not getting any opportunities. And you're like, I feel like I got something in the tank. I mean, there's a lot of guys that hang it up at that point. If you're not cracking in by 23, 24, 25 years old, if you're not on the scene impacting a big league roster, like more often than not, you see those guys hang it up. Especially if they're, quad A type guys like this. So I'm glad to see that he stuck around. I'm glad to see that like late bloomers are awesome. This is a good story for any guy that's maybe hanging around in AA, AAA that's, in that mid-20s age where it's like, dude, just hang tight. Someone's going to give you a chance. And he did. And like, no, it's not an astronomical bag. It's not a ton of money that you're seeing. He's not a superstar, but like, good for him, good for his family, and like that's I think a almost more realistic dream and story when you talk about Major League Baseball players. Something that can be obtainable. It's very, very. It's already rare to get in the league. It's even more rare to be a superstar and make, contracts in the hundreds of millions of dollars. So to have this, it's like, this is cool, man. This is a good story. He's easy to root for, and he's going to hit probably 40 in Sacramento.
This is a classic. Brent Rooker is a classic case of be ready when your opportunity comes along.
Yep.
How
many coaches told you that growing up?
Yeah,
like it's every coach, every level.
And I don't think you could really
never clicks.
Yeah, it never really clicks, but there's certain cases like you were saying, like these stories are already rare enough, but when you get a guy like Brent Rooker who, as the cliche goes, stays ready so he doesn't have to get ready. Like this is a perfect opportunity because like you were saying, you look at just the games played alone with the way that his career had shaken out. 2022, he's playing 14 games.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
No,
16
if you want to tack on the teams, two. Yeah, if you want to tack on the two with the Padres. 16 games before things really take off for Brent Rooker. So this is it's an awesome story. And like I said, it's going to be the bag that he gets.
Yeah. I think it also speaks to like, I think we're getting a little numb to those younger superstars, the Tatises, the Juan Sotos, the guys that come in at 19, 20 years old. And we're just like, oh, the league's getting younger. Like the league's getting better earlier. Like that's still rare. That's still insane. It's very normal to have peak athleticism in that 28 to 30 range. And that's what we've seen free agents, hitting free agency for the first time for decades. Like, this is what it is. You're still the athletic shape physically, and now your mentals are getting correct because you're at that age of maturity, and it's almost like the perfect storm of an athlete. So let's not forget that this isn't as crazy. It's the young guys that are the crazy ones.
And we were just talking about this, a month or two ago where I'm so over the narrative in sports, and it's purely a result of what you were just talking about. How you get these guys like Tatis coming along, and guys like Soto, they come along so early and they just dominate so early that we think that this is it's the normal, and that it somehow negates sort of the bell curve that exists of it being okay to be 30 years old.
Yeah.
Not just in baseball, but any sport, and still be like pretty successful. Like it goes back to that meme that I see come across my feed every now and then, where it's like, it's from the perspective of like a sportscaster, and it's like, here he comes, steps up to the plate, 30 years old. It's a miracle. Like,
Yeah,
can
dude.
we chill? Talk
Yeah.
like that. And I see
Just because you and I
more
feel
of
that way when we get up in the morning.
We're not professional athletes.
We're not professional athletes.
We're
dude.
allowed to feel like that.
Yeah.
But
no, you're totally right.
The reality of it is you hear that narrative more in the off season because you're talking about deals. You're hearing about proposed contracts, what guys are looking for. Well, is he on this side? Is he on the right side of 30 or the wrong side of 30? Stuff like that. So you hear more and more of that, but it's like, let's not forget that you're allowed to look at an athlete who's say 31 and go, he's still like, there's still potential that he could go on and have multiple successful seasons from this point out.
Oh yeah.
It's not that far-fetched.
Still plenty left. And I don't know, like you can't, the league isn't going to be filled with 23-year-old future Hall of Famers. It's just not how it works. You can still have successful seasons and teams and rosters and whatever you want to call it, like in that 30 to 33 range. Like there's still plenty of success there. Now, are we saying go sign that guy to a 10-year deal? No, those are the deals that are typically biting people in the booty. But I think you can still find success in your young 30s, and especially with a body that's like probably not as beat up. You know what I mean? Like Brent Rooker is arguably a healthier 30-year-old than what you would see because of not having to go through years and years of, flying and traveling and hotels and injuries and rehabs and, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, 5-year deal makes sense. Does he stay in A the whole time? Does he get to see the new stadium in Vegas? We'll see.
Speaking of age, let's switch gears here and talk about a guy even further down the line.
45. What is he, 42?
42. Justin Verlander signs a 1-year, $15 million contract with the San Francisco Giants. Look, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. And I'm going to get out in front of this because we know, the people listening, the people watching know how you tend to lean when it comes to Giants talk. So I'm going to go ahead and get out in front of any potential negativity coming from your direction, talking about, well, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. And I'm going to say, I like this deal. He's 42 years old, and people may balk at that, and they go, I don't care who it is, it's 42. I disagree. You know what I say? It does matter who it is. We're talking about Justin Verlander. This guy is going to be pitching till he's 45 years old. So we're not even at the end of the road here. Like we're still looking at a 2-3 year span. I'm sure that he's trying to run out here. So this isn't even the final stop for Justin Verlander. So even if it was, I'd still like this deal. It's 1 year. It's $15 million. That's pennies that's pennies out of the bank that you've been trying to empty for years, as we've talked about on anybody and everybody.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what? You get a surefire Hall of Famer in here. We talk all the time about veteran presence in the clubhouse, how important that is. And you have a realistic chance for a guy to come into a pitcher-friendly park and possibly have, can we call it a renaissance? Like, I know he had a down year. He's coming off a down year.
Yeah, that's what I was looking up. What'd you say the deal was worth?
$15 million, 1 year.
Yeah, I mean, there's not. It's a pretty high reward if he does what he's supposed to do. And last year, I believe he made like a good chunk of starts before he ran into an injury. I don't remember what the injury was. It was something weird. It was like a neck injury or something like that kind of took him out last year. But if you look at the numbers before he went out the first time for an injury,
Shoulder and neck. Yeah.
shoulder, yeah. So if you look at the numbers before, I think he was dicing. I think he was kind of lighting it up.
Well, he finished with, if we're talking last year, he finished with a 5.48 and had a whip of 1.38. And he only logged 90 innings. So,
but if you look at the chunk of starts, I don't know how many starts, maybe 5, 6, 7 starts before the injury. I think it was pretty good. I think he did okay.
Let's pull up the old game log here.
And it makes you wonder. It's like, well, let's face it, dude. He's 40 plus. The body don't recover the same way. And maybe that injury was something that he struggled to get over. And that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. So maybe he's fully healthy. Maybe he comes back and has a good spring training. Maybe he steps in to a rotation that is a very hodgepodge, strange rotation if you read it out loud. But is it competitive? Yes. Are the Giants at least taking steps in a direction? Yes. So I can't be that negative. But I can't help but feel like they're one of the most desperate teams in baseball. And they reek of desperation.
Yeah, but like I said, you could have, I don't know, you could take it one of two ways. You could look at it and say, well, you could maybe throw $15 million for 1 year at somebody less risky. I'm going the other direction with it and saying, you're throwing $15 million at a guy who, again, is a Hall of Famer and is very, I'll just call it likely to bounce back from last year. And when he bounces back, Justin Verlander on an okay day, you'll absolutely take that out of the 5 spot, which I think is what he's projected to be in that rotation.
I gotta look at this rotation.
I'll take Justin Verlander out of the 5 spot on it with an okay outing every day of the week.
Yeah.
So I just don't even know. I don't know.
I'm like I said, I'm not trying to be. I don't think there's enough to be too negative about this. There's just a lot of question marks when you look at this rotation outside of Logan Webb, who, you know,
That's
we all
a
know
lock.
we all know what he is and what he does. You got Robbie Ray coming back from an injury. Jordan Hicks had his flashes last year as a first year as a starter. So we'll see there. Kyle Harrison had a fairly solid rookie year, I would say. Maybe he steps in and kind of lives up to the name a little bit. So, like, yeah, when you slot in Verlander in that area, like, there's a lot worse decisions you can make. But I would argue that it does kind of feel like they always chase names. They just always chase names. And they kind of fall in love with that. So I'm not going to sit here and say it's a bad deal, but I'm not going to sit here and say the Giants are taking the West.
Not that he's obviously not looking for a 1-year deal, which I think is why his free agency continues to go on. So it's not the greatest example, but take a guy like Nick Pivetta, who's still available right now. Would you rather throw, because he turned down the qualifying offer, so we'll just call it 20. Would you rather throw $20 million at Nick Pivetta on a 1-year deal, or would you rather throw 15 at Justin Verlander?
Nick Pivetta is kind of a weird. I'm just confirming, looking at numbers. I mean, it's a weird one because it's like, I think you know what he is at this point. Yeah. First full year as a starter for, well, no, he had those early years. I didn't realize he was with Philly.
Yeah.
Back in the day. I think you kind of just know what he is. He's going to give you an ERA in the 4s, and he's probably going to throw 150 innings. Yeah, 150 is generous. We'll probably say 140 innings. And you kind of know what that is. I think I'd probably take a Verlander because of what the ceiling is. You know, we're talking about last year being a really rough year for Verlander. You could argue it'd probably be a somewhat normal year for a Nick Pivetta. So you're right. I'd probably say, give me old man Verlander, and let's see what we can squeeze out of him.
For the sake of a hypothetical, say you put Verlander and Nick Pivetta in the same scenario that both have down years. Who would you rather have than, if you're not getting the value from him on the field, in the clubhouse, in the pen, in the workouts, who would you rather have? There's
something totally different when the presence of a future Hall of Famer, first ballot, surefire, top 15, arguably higher pitcher of all time. That holds weight. There's a lot that can rub off into youth, into just routine, into just how a guy goes about his business, how he treats other teammates. Like, there's a lot that can just kind of fall into this. And yeah, I mean, you know, you talk about, like, I saw this interview that someone, I don't remember what page it was. Somebody was interviewing Royals. Walt, they were kind of asking him about, like, the glory days and what he felt like wasn't, you know, his favorite rotation to be in. And he talked about when he was an Astro with Clemens and Pettit. And he's like, you know, those guys have had a decade in the league at that point plus. And it's amazing to be able to be around those guys and see how they operate and just pick little things and take that. So if you're a young Kyle Harrison, you're like, yeah, if you're a Logan Webb who is on the upwards trajectory of having a solid career, like, yeah, you can take whatever you can from a Justin Verlander. So yeah, you talked me into it. I can't hate on it that much. I'm just not going to sit here and pretend like, you know, we're going to see a sub 3, 180 inning Justin Verlander. I think those days are gone. But prove me wrong.
But I'm, in thinking more about it, I could see a 3.5.
Yeah, if you give me 3.5, 160 all day.
Out of the bottom of your rotation.
All day.
Every day of the week, twice on Sunday. Please and thank you. Speaking of things we'd like to see, Vladdy Jr. to the Sox.
Give me a little more into this because I can't get there. So help me out.
It's from widely trusted source, an MLB insider, Bob Nightingale, wrote that if the Blue Jays do not sign Guerrero to an extension before spring training, he will test free agency next winter, and if he hits the open market, the expectation is that Guerrero would join the Boston Red Sox heading into 2026. Bob Nightingale went on to reference comments made by his friends who said that he would reportedly love to play in Boston. Which, you can never go wrong there, right? If the friends are saying it, it must be on
Bob
on
must
the
have
verge of
no
happening.
sources. I don't think Bob's got any sources.
How would you even go about finding the friends of Vladimir Guerrero Jr.?
He's got no sources.
Can we? Well, I think people just gloss over that and like, oh yeah, you're talking to his friends. How would you go? Assuming they're still like they're in the DR. How do you go about tracking those people down?
I don't know how. Look, I'm not trying to hate. Things are just done differently in the DR.
No, for sure. I'm talking more about Nightingale.
Yeah, that's what I see videos of Vlad Senior just like hanging out, like wearing like he's got a little belly now, and he's just hanging out like wearing a polo and basketball shorts,
as he should,
at like an outdoor table, and he's just hanging out with people, and they're just listening to music, and he's just vibing like barefoot. You're just like, okay, like yeah, you're just soaking it in. Like, is Bob down there? You're telling me Bob's going down there and like seeking out friends of Vladdy? Like, who are you calling them? Are they picking up your call, Bob?
No, no. He's not. There's no way he's going to the DR. You know what I think of when I think of
I think
Bob?
he has frosted tips. Doesn't he?
Who, Nightingale?
Yeah. Look up
No.
a picture.
Get out of here.
I think he's got frosted tips.
There's no way he has frosted tips. Get out of here. No, maybe. No, I think he's just a blonde. It's like a bleach blonde guy. I don't know. I'm not going to comment on his hair. I don't know what's going on there. What I do know though is what I think of when I think of Bob Nightingale in the DR. It's Toby from The Office saying that he's going to Costa Rica. It's like that's just not a fit that I see happening. Breaks
his neck the first day.
Yeah, he says, I'll go to Costa Rica when I'm 65. That's Bob Nightingale. That's what I see.
Watching Entourage in Spanish in the hospital.
Yeah, that's Bob for you.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. I don't know. Anyway, back to
let's talk about
the landing spot.
Let's talk about the fit, the potential fit. First of all, before we even get to fit, the money side of it.
Yeah, first, I don't see him getting an extension before spring training.
No, he has made it abundantly clear.
They're nowhere near the number he's wanting.
$100 million short of what he's asking for.
That's a big number.
I could not be more convinced that Vladimir Guerrero Jr. does not want to play in Toronto beyond this season.
Yeah.
Like, he could not be making it more clear. The Blue Jays could have offered $750 million, and he said, thanks, but I'm looking for $800 million. That's what I genuinely believe to be going on here. So I'm not gonna be caught off guard or shocked at what he says yes or no to in terms of contract. And frankly, I don't think him saying that he's asking for $450 million is entirely accurate. I think if the Red Sox, we'll just use the Red Sox for this scenario because that's who's rumored to be somewhat connected. If the Red Sox came out and said, we'll offer you $360, my bet is that assuming all other offers are comparable, he's taking that tomorrow. Because I just don't think he wants to play in Toronto anymore.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, why would you want to play in Toronto? Like, I know they kind of get laughed at as like the little brother of Major League Baseball because it's literally Toronto and nobody else.
I've heard good things about the city.
No, for sure. And comment is less about the city itself and more about just the organization. It just seems, I don't know. I just feel like you're out of the loop up there.
They have severely botched all of this. All of the youth, the core, the opportunities to extend, they have royally botched this to the point where you got guys that want out. And yeah, there's no way he signs an extension before spring training. I would go ahead and assume you maximize an offer before the deadline. That's when he's going to be most sought after. And I'm curious to see what team is in what position. I can't really specifically think of too many other suitors right off the top of my head.
The Mets, I mean depending upon what happens with the Alonso situation.
Feels like the Northeast, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I can't see like a Seattle pulling that trigger.
No, and I think you and I, last time we talked about it, I think you and I differed on this, but I personally don't feel as though the Yankees are in the mix here.
I think they're going to be in the running.
Sure, for themselves, but in terms of what Vladdy's
what
looking
he prefers,
for, I don't think.
I don't know.
I don't think. Again, going back to his comments back, what was it at last year's deadline, where he's like, I take back what I said. The Yankees are this. That was a business move.
Yeah, it was a business move. I think what's crazy is that not crazy. What's difficult about having him land there is that his dad played during the era of hating, everyone hated the Yankees. And so I think, with his dad obviously being advising him in these scenarios, there's probably some bias there. So I think they're going to be in the hunt. I think that you will read about them being one of the 5 to 7 teams that are, pursuing him next offseason. But what I mean is there a team that is willing to take a shot at him as a rental and they're in a good position around the deadline next year? And is that a Red Sox team that is performing well in the hunt? Let's try and get him to fall in love with this team and city during a postseason run to give us somewhat of an advantage during the negotiations of free agency. Maybe. Or is it some kind of surprise team that says, hey, let's go grab him for a few months. We probably won't be able to re-sign him, but let's see what we can do with him in this short, little home stretch of the season. So I'm curious to see it, but he's got to hit free agency, right? I mean,
certainly.
It's weird, man. I feel like we have an idea of players, and then when that time comes of them hitting free agency, you almost walk it back a little bit and you start hearing all these details of their issues. You know what I mean? Before this free agency, I was like, oh, Bregman's going to get whatever he wants. There's going to be multiple suitors. He's probably going to sign somewhere pretty quickly. And then you start to deep dive, you remove the name out of it and you deep dive into numbers and you look at age and you just start looking at things as time goes. You're like, oh, well, now I see why. Pete Alonso. What did the Mets offer him? 90 mil?
What was that offer?
It was something terrible.
No, but that's what I'm saying though, is these guys, careers, these guys' numbers are even more so under the microscope during the offseason, because that's all people do and that's all they have time for, is they just sit around. How can we dissect every angle of this guy? And these organizations more so are looking for ways that they can dissect and warrant or justify offering X, Y, or Z.
Sure.
In order to compete for one of these free agents or put a trade package together for one of these guys that they're after.
I have issues with Vlad. He's 25. Yeah. I have issues with Vlad in Boston just because of, you're going to go ahead and assume that this is I can't see anything under 8 years. It wouldn't make any sense for anything under 8 years. And then you're in a position where like Devers is and Vlad, like Vlad's not gonna be playing first base at 32. I don't see that. He's gonna be a full-time DH by 30.
Well, something would have to give if he ends up in Boston, because
That's what I mean.
Rafi's got the first leg in to
That's
the,
what I
the
mean.
DH slot before Vladdy, I would imagine.
So do the Red Sox, make a run at that and say, hey, if we get a ring before then, before that issue comes up, we get a ring or two, who cares? We'll deal with that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there. Is it worth it in their eyes? I'm trying to think of other suitors, man. Like I definitely could see the Mets, him, Soto, Lindor, as like a 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4 situation. Yeah, that could work.
Sorry, I've got just a little side note here. Little Big League, I was telling you, Little Big League is on MLB Network right now. And it's insane to me, assuming it was him and not a stunt double. Well, he's in the movie, but Randy Johnson makes the appearance later in the movie. And after the Mariners record the final out, they're celebrating on the mound. And assuming it's him and not a stunt double, he's jumped, and it looks like from the back, at least it looks like him, like long hair and everything, freaking 8 feet tall. It's crazy to me that they had him like jumping up and down on the mound I'm sure it wasn't crazy back then, but like you look to the way things are now, like Edwin Diaz situation in the World Baseball Classic, no chance they would have done that.
I don't know.
Had they know what they know now. Anyway, sorry. Side note, but yeah, who knows? I mean, I'm sure as time goes on, the list of suitors will increase, but I think as of right now, you're looking at the Northeast for Vladdy.
I really can't think of any other landing spot that feels good.
I'm gonna need proof that the Red Sox are willing to spend money again. We haven't seen it, and we can throw the Soto example out there. Well, they didn't have to spend it, so we won't really know if that would have come to fruition. And they're keen on trying to make trades, make deals, which I get. Like you've got some depth there in the system that you can sort of play with, but
that's the other thing too,
just
man.
spend the money.
You're talking
you
about
have the money.
One of the best prospects in baseball. That's going to be, what's his name coming up?
Roman Anthony.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I mean, like you can't just ignore that and say that you have to lock somebody down. But at the same time, we have this discussion all the time. It's like proof is in the pudding with players, and prospects aren't anything until they prove it. And
proven talent over prospects every time.
So I'd be curious to see it. I think it'd be silly and something regrettable if it is an acquisition before the deadline, and if the Red Sox send that guy to the Blue Jays. I think that's a mistake. I think that would be a big mistake.
Roman Anthony's off the table, without a doubt. It'd be some combination. If they went and got him early, it would be some combination of others. But assuming he makes it free agency, I think that's what they're banking on. I think a lot of other teams are as well. I think if they are willing to spend this money that they say they're willing to spend, that's where they're going to try to make it happen. There'd be no sense in pushing the limits and
these Blue Jays, man. These Blue Jays, I am just baffled. I'm just baffled of what this has turned into.
Can I attempt to baffle you?
With the haircut, by the way. Did you see that?
I did see that.
I don't hate it. I wasn't a fan of the hair just.
I mean, it was him. Like that was him.
Yes, yeah, it was just Lord Farquaad hair that I just.
No, that's Corbin Carroll. And I said that,
it's the same hair.
Yeah, nobody really seemed to agree with me on that. Go look at a picture of Corbin Carroll and pull up Lord Farquaad.
Same guy.
Same color.
Same guy.
Pull up Corbin Carroll in the D-backs red uni, and then pull up a picture of Lord Farquaad.
Same guy. Same height.
Same guy. What are we talking about?
Yeah.
You mentioned being baffled. Can I attempt to baffle you a little bit more?
Bring on the baffle. Uh-oh. I knew we were coming up on this. AI is scary, man.
It's insane, dude. I made that in like, it took me probably 35 seconds to type out the lyrics for that. And within a minute, they cranked that out. And I'm like, well, that saved me a lot of
drums.
That saved me a lot of money on having to dish out for a
studio
session for somebody.
I would have gotten in the studio for us, but it's all good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, we can save you for another set. If we come up with a segment, I'll get you.
I'm in.
We'll get you on the mic.
Shoot me the auto tune a little bit. I just need that, and I'm in.
We'll make it work.
Yeah.
Whose quote was this? But when you're talking about attendance going down, when you're talking about blackout restrictions, when you're talking about jersey sales, you're talking about all these numbers tanking and regressing each year, something needs to change. So how do we do that without changing the game? This is an example. We're not changing the distance between the mound and the plate. We're not changing the balls. We're not changing the size of the field. We're not changing the height of the fences. None of that stuff's changing, but it is something to shed a little more light on the players and to give a little more love around, gives a player a chance to express their personality a little bit without having to tweet, without having to answer questions from their locker that, after a game. So this is something that is raw and I'm cool with it. From episode 118 to Mike or not to Mike from March 9th, 2020. This would have been our last or second to last episode before the world shut down.
I'm going to say me, and I'm going to say we were talking like maybe Players Weekend. I don't know. Was it me? Yeah.
That was you. No, I think. Well, the like I said, the episode was titled "To Mike or Not to Mike," so it would have been a topic of discussion.
Oh, it was
at
like
that
mic'd
point.
up.
Yeah, and I don't remember. Maybe it was just that baseball is proposing a more like regularly occurring mic schedule or something. I don't know what happened, but it was important enough or big enough of a story, I guess, that we decided to headline it. But that was
what's a big story in the moment.
That was your take.
And then forgettable down the road. Yeah, if we're talking about that, I mean, just stop interviewing them. I don't want conversation. Mic them up. Let it stay mic'd up. And let's hear some raw stuff. But I'm still in the camp that baseball needs its own Hard Knocks version. We need something that's raw, unedited, just pure in the offseason. Ryan
Burr. When we interviewed Ryan Burr, shout out former White Sox reliever. Who's he with now? I just saw he signed with somebody. Was it the Nationals? I think it was the Nationals.
He was on a roster in the postseason.
He's with the Blue Jays.
Last year?
No,
this year.
No, he's still with the Blue Jays? I think he is. I swore somebody we interviewed over the years, just with the Nationals. I saw signed with them over the offseason. I just can't remember who that was. Anyway, not important. Ryan Burr, when we had him on a handful of years ago, actually, it was probably right around this time, right around COVID. He had the idea, if you recall, of having some sort of like
a bullpen show.
Yeah, like a hot mic bullpen, or just even like a streaming option where you can just be like, I want to watch tonight's Red Sox Yankees game through the lens of the bullpen.
Mm-hmm.
And they would never do it, obviously, but he was the one suggesting an idea like that, and he's like, yeah, I'd be down for it. So you would have to imagine if a guy like that's behind it, there's probably other guys who like
they got to do it at some point.
Let's get it spicy, let's get it popping.
Yeah. I think we're dominating this game, by the way. We don't miss too much.
We're crushing. Whose quote is this?
Yeah.
We're crushing it, which goes to show you how long we've been doing this. We know each other's takes and how they evolve over time, even ones from years ago. Yeah. Well done. I did have something. Oh,
how breaking is breaking? Oh, I know what you're talking about.
It's not full breaking news, so I'm not going to run it out all the way. I love how you go straight to your phone when I play that. No,
Just
breaking
saw what the
news.
notification was. That's all.
Merch is officially back. I know I hinted at it last episode. I said it's back, but it's not like actually back yet because we have to iron out some final things. Got those things figured out.
She back.
Merch is back. And I tell you what, we had some fun with it this go around.
We sure did, man.
This is the best, by far, I think the best collection of stuff we've come out with to date. Like we've had shops before, and you know, it was sort of like an afterthought, but we really put some thought into these options, and we think y'all are gonna love it. Even for the first time ever, we got some jerseys in the shop, dude.
I'm hyped.
The jerseys, I'm ordering ours. I'm putting in an order for ours like tomorrow.
I'm hyped.
We got a home 3-0 take jersey. We got a road 3-0 take jersey. And just when you thought we were done with jerseys, no.
Throw in that altie.
Throw in the alternate. We got a blue alternate on there. I may even, you know what? Let's just go full set. I need to design a red. We can get a red one in there, cover all of our bases, and maybe even throw in like an alternate black. Maybe we'll get creative with a black uni. I don't know. Who knows?
Whoa.
But yeah, we got some 3-0 take jerseys in the shop, in the new shop. We got some tees in there, and I think our wheelhouse. You and I have always just been hat guys till we die, and I think that's going to continue to be our wheelhouse. We love hats. There's plenty of hats in there. Nate's rocking one of them as we speak. He's got the beanie on.
This is a high quality beanie. It's a firm, like sturdy beanie. It's not like a floppy, like, you know what I mean? Like this is high quality. The stitch, like this clean. My wife already took it, probably threw some makeup in the inside a little bit. Yeah.
It looks clean. And the hat you're
nice.
wearing last episode was another option we got on there. And I know people were asking about it. It's in there. It's in there somewhere. There it is. Yeah. There it is. How about that 3-0 take?
That's clean. The rope hat.
Little rope hat action.
The white
snapback enclosure on the back. Love it. So go check that out.
Stay
it's on our
Filthy
website.
Version of that rope hat too.
Yes, Stay Filthy version, which mine should be here any day. And then a carefully curated Don't Go Chasing Curveballs hat. That's going to be Nate's favorite.
Oh, boy. I can't wait for that one. It's going to be clean.
It's going to be real nice. Going to put an order for that in as well. Yeah. So, yeah, been waiting a long time to finally come out with what we feel is a solid collection of merch. And we finally got that out there for you guys. So it is available. You go to our website, 30take.com/shop. That's TheoHtake.com/shop. You can find a link. I posted on social. It's in our bio on our social platforms. So that should cover that. But very excited about that. Go check it out. Go support the pod.
If you get anything, tag us, put it on your story.
Yeah.
You're automatically going to be put on our story.
Correct. Oh, and the last thing I had before we get out of here, the resolution that I shared, if you recall, one of my New Year's baseball related resolutions, and it was actually the one I was looking forward to most this year. One of my 3 that I shared was this year was going to be the year that I converted a non-baseball fan or somebody that was just otherwise indifferent about baseball into a baseball fan. I have since identified the subject for this project.
That's good.
He's a guy from our church. He's in our small group. Super cool dude. You may have even met him. Is
this going to take a while? Like, is it like we need to sit down and watch a game together?
This project? Oh yeah. Like it's going to be like we're sort of going to map this out over the course of the year. Like we're going to have to hit up some Nationals games.
That'll help.
They're the closest. Maybe make our way up to Baltimore for a game. And we were even talking about it tonight because I was with him and his wife earlier tonight, and I was like, we possibly we could make this a full blown like content series, like a campaign almost. And I was thinking about we could even document maybe even make an account, like its own separate account, and just document the whole thing. He's an LA guy. So he's gonna commit. I was like, you're gonna have to commit to a team from the jump because we don't want to be figuring this out on the fly. And he's like, well, naturally, I'm an LA guy, so let's just go Dodgers. And I'm like, he's like, am I gonna get some hate for that? And I was like, from people that don't understand how that works. I'm like, you're from there. I have no problem with it. So that's what we're looking at, and I'm excited about it. And I'm looking forward to sharing the journey with our listeners and our viewers. It's gonna be an interesting year.
I've had this idea that I feel like we could do like a asking for a friend segment, that if there's anybody that ever wants to ask a stupid baseball question, that we could read it off and talk about it. Right?
I love that.
It'd be kind of fun. So maybe if you can document any questions that he has, we won't call him out. It can remain anonymous. But even if it's like a wife question. So if any of you listeners, where your wife asks a stupid question when you're watching a game, and you're like, oh, I got to tell the boys about this, send us a DM.
Or hold on. If you're a baseball girl,
shout
out to the baseball girl hat and
your
shirt
husband
on
has
the
no
on the
idea
shop.
what he's doing or saying, or he has no idea why you're into it, and he has a question and he's an idiot. Let's get into it.
I love
what do you
that.
think?
Let's make that a thing.
Asking for a friend. Yeah.
I like that. Did you catch my little plug there for the baseball girl?
You did.
Hat and shirt.
You did plug it, and it's nice. It's clean.
The shop. Just a little statement tee. Just let people know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. We need to let's get that going.
I like how you have one locked in already. You've got a target acquired. That's good. It's good. It's good. It's good resolution too.
I was like, dude, what do you like? We need a name for this project. And he was like, he knows very little about the Dodgers or baseball in general, but he knows Jackie Robinson. He's like, what if we just called it Project 42? I said,
this guy's cool.
Yeah, I said, yeah, we'll run with that.
Already cooler than us.
So he's one of the coolest dudes I know.
Yeah.
Project 42 it is. Be on the lookout for some content for that. I'm really excited about this. And I got other guys from our group to get involved who are baseball fans. So it's gonna be like a full blown campaign.
Maybe he's gonna want to join in on our keeping book on Sunday nights that we're gonna do.
There you go.
Because that's a good way to learn. Let's face it, that's a great way to learn and understand what things mean. Why is he on second? How did he get there?
That's a great point.
Out here getting in the community. Look at us.
Look at us, man, making a difference.
Stand up a little bit, show off that shirt. This is number what?
This it's like 4 or 5. Okay, yeah, it's recorded.
Beautiful.
I lost a bet. As a reminder, Yankees took the final 5 games of the season series.
I want this framed.
I'll send it to you when I'm done because I'm literally never wearing this ever again once I've paid my dues and worn this shirt. As you can see, there's 3 of Nate, A-Rod, and Jeter.
I might wear it.
I'll send it to you.
I think Mike Evans was wearing his own shirt with his face all over it the other day. Why can't I?
Why can't you? You got 3 faces. There you go. Yeah. All right. You got anything before we get out of here?
No. Just do me a favor and don't go chasing curveballs.
We love you all, and as always, looking forward to talking more baseball with you guys soon. Until next time, stay filthy.